Lately, I've been thinking a lot about self-care for leaders. How leaders preserve their energy for the challenging business of leadership, serving a mission well, serving people well, engaging people. And I've been thinking about how that occurs in an integrated sort of way, and chopped it up into 4 areas. You could chop it up into a different 4 areas if you were doing it. But the 4 areas I came up with, Craig, were the physical, the intellectual, the care of the mind, the social emotional, how we relate inwardly and then outwardly to others, and then the spiritual area, maybe as the 4th area, could be the 1st area, however you look at it. So I thought it might be great to have a conversation about how you, and by the way, this is my good friend and partner, Greg Schloneger, sitting here with me today. I should have introduced him. But at any rate, I thought it would be great. Craig, you've had a number of different leadership positions, and I thought about in a number of different venues over the years: profit, not-for-profit, employed, interim CEO, interim COO, a couple times since you've been here at North Group. And I thought, who better than you maybe to speak about, how you do self-care? I've said this line before that, self-care is not a selfish act, because we're really doing it for other people. And so, first of all, the concept of self-care not being a selfish act makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I find, Roger, that when I take care of myself, I'm better able to serve other people. And the most important thing for me with self-care, especially with the emotional, is to really understand how my day is progressing.
Okay.
If I am spending a lot of my day with other people in meetings or one-on-one settings, then I need to take time for myself somewhere in that day.
Okay.
And preferably to be able to get outside of the building of where I'm at. But if I'm spending my day more in a doing solitary work, I need to find other people to spend some time with.
So you're a person that needs a balance. You can't do 11 straight hours of meeting and feel fresh in the 11th hour, and on the other hand, 10 straight hours of doing desk work would drive you bonkers.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, the balance is really important for me. And so that's how I take care of it on an emotional level.
Okay, yeah.
On an intellectual level, it's all about patterns for me.
Oh, really?
It's about getting up in the morning, opening up the morning newspaper, seeing things broader and greater than just maybe what I might intersect with. And I always find something that enhances my conversation with other people there.
I see
There's
what you're
always
saying.
nuggets that help me in conversations or in meeting settings that provide, again, how I can be at my best, because I'm taking care of myself.
That one of the 4 has been the hardest one for me as I've gotten older. I thought the physical one would be the hardest one as I got older, but for me, the intellectual one.
I'm also glad you mentioned the spiritual side, because for me, that is a discipline that really helps me for my own self-care.
Okay, yeah.
And just the discipline for myself is an active prayer life and an active church life.
Yeah, yeah.
And other things come and go, but those 2 are always constant in my life and helps me.
And I've been thinking about how all these 4 areas are integrated, but as we've been talking about it, I've been thinking about how maybe the intellectual mental, the care of the mind, is so closely related to the care of the spirit.
Yeah.
You were talking about the prayer life and the church life and so forth. I think those 2 things, mind and spirit, are really particularly importantly integrated. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, because as you're taking care of your own mind and your own spirit, then you're able to lead and take care of other people out of that same mind frame.
Yeah, and then that takes me back to the social emotional piece, which I think you described before as needing a balance. I'm probably a little bit more of a external, outgoing personality than you are, so I can do a lot of time with people. I can do a lot of meetings in a row. I can do a lot of one-on-one stuff in a row, and I actually gain energy from that, and then sometimes that energy will then allow me at the end of the day to have a really strong finish on the computer or desk side of things, because I've gotten energy from that, and I can plow that last hour into getting those last couple of important documents out to a client or something of that nature. So I guess it's knowing those things about yourself.
It's knowing
right?
yourself, and it's knowing what will give you energy, what will make you feel good by the end of the day, so that you can then leave and feel ready for the next day and go prepared for the next day.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you about this topic, and I mentioned it at the beginning, is because you have led well in a number of different environments. You've been in another country, you've been in a church setting, you've been in a not-for-profit setting, you've been in a for-profit setting, as a leader, and now, of course, as a consultant and interim CEO from time to time. Do you notice differences, or is it all leadership?
You know, by and large, it's all leadership. It's all working with how do you cast a vision?
Yeah.
How do you take time to understand what's going on around you? And then how do you serve the staff that are working with you?
Yeah.
Because that's what you want to do with self-care. Sure, it's about myself and wanting to take care of myself, but it's also about wanting to take care of those who I'm working with.
Which is a perfect segue, because I've been thinking a lot about how we use that energy to, in effect, transfer and share it with the people that we work most closely with, our staff. And until next time, I'm going to be thinking a lot about that idea, about our responsibility as leaders to share our energy with other people and to stimulate them in the areas for which they're responsible. And until next time, I'd love to know what you've been thinking about.